Imagine you are sitting in a meeting. A decision is being made. You have an opinion, a genuine insight forged from your own unique experience and perspective. It's a good idea, a different idea. You feel the words gathering at the base of your throat, a quiet pressure, a moment of potential. And then you swallow. You watch the moment pass. You look around the table, read the room, calculate the political cost of dissent. You see the smooth, frictionless path of agreement, and you take it. You nod, you smile, you add a meaningless platitude of support. A wave of something that feels like relief washes over you, but beneath it there is a cold, metallic taste, the taste of a small, quiet, and utterly private self-betrayal. Or perhaps the scene is more intimate. A family dinner. You are surrounded by people who have known you your entire life, and yet you are playing a character. You are the successful one, the funny one, the responsible one, the peacemaker. You expertly navigate the conversational minefields. You perform the expected emotional responses. You carefully edit your true thoughts and feelings to maintain the delicate, unspoken equilibrium of the group. You are loved, perhaps, but you have a chilling, lonely thought. Are they loving me, or are they loving the character I have become so adept at playing? You drive home, the mask still cooling on your face, and the silence in the car is filled with a profound, nameless exhaustion. This is the quiet, daily tragedy of the modern self. We are living in an age that worships at the altar of authenticity. Be yourself, the culture screams at us from every screen. Follow your passion, speak your truth, live your authentic life. We are sold this idea as the ultimate prize, the key to happiness and fulfillment. And yet, this is the great, gaslighting paradox of our time. The same world that demands our authenticity is the very one that relentlessly polices, punishes, and sands down any genuine expression of it that doesn't fit a pre-approved mold. We are taught from our first day of school to raise our hands, to wait our turn, to color within the lines. We are trained in the workplace to be team players, to adopt the corporate jargon, to suppress our eccentricities for the sake of a smooth professional persona. Our social lives are governed by a complex, unspoken web of etiquette and trends, a constantly shifting script of what is cool, what is acceptable, what is right. We are encouraged to be unique, but only in ways that are fashionable. We are told to have a voice, but only if it harmonizes with the choir. The cost of this constant self-editing is not a dramatic, soul-shattering event. It is a slow leak. It is the gradual fading of your own inner light, a process so incremental you barely notice it is happening. It is the feeling of becoming a ghost in your own life. You do all the right things, you say all the right things, you build a life that looks successful and admirable from the outside, but you feel hollow within it. You are haunted by the ghost of the person you might have been, the one who spoke up in the meeting, the one who was real at the dinner table, the one who took the risk of being truly seen. This mask we wear, what Jung called the persona, is not inherently evil. It is a necessary tool for navigating a complex social world. The problem is not that we wear a mask. The problem is that we forget we are wearing it. We wear it so long, so consistently, that it begins to fuse with our skin. The performance becomes the reality, and the true face beneath it begins to atrophy from lack of use. The whisper of your authentic self never truly goes away, but it becomes faint. It speaks to you in moments of quiet crisis. It is the sudden, inexplicable wave of melancholy on a beautiful Sunday afternoon. It is the low-grade, chronic anxiety that hums beneath the surface of your busiest days. It is the flash of bitter envy you feel when you see someone else living with a kind of unapologetic, weird, and joyful freedom. These are not signs that you are broken. They are messages from an exiled part of your own soul, a part that is begging to be let back in. They are the first, faint tremors of a quiet rebellion. This rebellion is not a loud, dramatic act of defiance. It is not about quitting your job and moving to a mountaintop, though for some it might be. It is something much quieter, much braver, and much more profound. It is the decision to stop betraying yourself in the small daily moments. It is the choice to value the integrity of your own soul over the comfort of social approval. But this raises the most terrifying question of all. Who is the authentic self you are supposed to be true to? Is it a fixed, perfect, hidden core waiting to be discovered? Or is it something you must build, moment by moment, with every courageous choice? And why is the simple, seemingly natural act of being real so fraught with fear? What catastrophic loss do we imagine will occur if we were to finally, truly take off the mask and show the world what lies beneath? This is the central, urgent quest of a meaningful life, to navigate the treacherous path back to a self you have been taught your entire life to hide. The reason the simple act of being yourself feels like a rebellion is because our entire social architecture is designed to produce conformity. The hidden problem is that we are caught in a fundamental conflict between two of our deepest human needs, the need for attachment and the need for authenticity. From the moment we are born, our survival depends on our attachment to our caregivers. We need their love, their approval, their protection. To maintain this vital bond, a child will instinctively learn to suppress any part of their authentic self that they perceive as a threat to that connection. The physician and trauma expert Gabor Maté states this principle with devastating clarity. In the dance between attachment and authenticity, attachment will always win. If a child learns that their anger, their boisterousness, their sadness, or their unique, quirky interests are met with disapproval, criticism, or withdrawal of love, they will make a tragic, unconscious choice. They will sacrifice a piece of their authenticity in order to preserve the attachment bond. This is not a conscious decision. It is a brilliant, necessary survival strategy. The child learns, to be loved, to belong, I must hide this part of myself. We arrive in adulthood with a whole collection of these disowned, exiled parts, a shadow self filled not with evil, but with the authentic, spontaneous life force we were taught was unacceptable.
The mask, the persona, is the face we construct out of all the acceptable parts. The hidden problem is that this childhood survival strategy becomes our lifelong script. We continue to trade our authenticity for attachment in our friendships, our romantic relationships, and our careers. We become people pleasers, chameleons, peacemakers, all sophisticated adult terms for the same childhood wound, the fear that if we show our real selves, we will be rejected, abandoned, and left alone. Our terror of being authentic is, at its root, the terror of exile. This psychological dynamic is then exploited and amplified by our broader culture. The philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche saw this as the great sickness of modern society, the power of the herd morality. The herd, in order to maintain its stability and predictability, is deeply suspicious of the individual who deviates from the norm. It establishes a set of values, often prioritizing safety, comfort, and agreeableness, and subtly punishes anyone who dares to embody a different, more challenging set of values. The authentic individual, the one who creates their own values, who follows their own inner law, is a threat to the herd's comfortable consensus. They are a mirror that reflects the herd's own lack of courage. The herd's primary weapon is not overt force, but the soft, pervasive power of social approval and disapproval. It is the fear of being gossiped about, of being seen as weird or difficult, of being passed over for a promotion, of not being invited to the party. We are social animals, and this fear of social judgment is one of the most powerful forces shaping our behavior. We internalize the gaze of the herd, becoming our own jailers. We self-censor, we self-police, we sand down our own jagged edges to fit smoothly into the social machine. As the existentialist thinker Soren Kierkegaard lamented, the greatest danger is not in losing the world, but in losing one's own self in the clamor of the crowd. In our contemporary world, this dynamic has been supercharged by the architecture of social media. We have not just a small local herd to contend with, but a global digital one. We are handed a set of powerful tools to perform a curated, optimized, and ultimately inauthentic version of ourselves. We receive immediate, quantifiable feedback, likes, shares, comments, on how well our performance aligns with the herd's expectations. This creates a vicious cycle. We post a version of ourselves that we think will be approved of. We receive the reward of positive feedback, and this reinforces the performance. The gap between our performed self and our real self widens. We become addicted to the validation of the persona, and the authentic self, which receives no such validation, withers from neglect. The hidden problem, therefore, is a tragic conspiracy between our deepest psychological wounds and our most powerful social structures. Our childhood fear of abandonment makes us crave approval, and our society has built a vast, intricate machine designed to dispense that approval in exchange for our conformity. We are caught in a trap that is both of our making and far bigger than us. We are sold a vision of authenticity, but we are only given the tools to perform a better, more convincing imitation of it. We are encouraged to find ourselves, but we are punished if the self we find is not the one the herd has pre-approved. The quiet rebellion of being authentic is not just a personal struggle, it is a revolutionary act against a system that profits, both emotionally and economically, from our self-betrayal. And the unseen consequences of failing to undertake this rebellion are not just a matter of personal unhappiness, they are a slow, creeping erasure of the human soul. The price of our collective inauthenticity is not paid in a single lump sum. It is a tax levied on our souls moment by moment in small, almost invisible increments. The unseen consequences of this quiet, lifelong self-betrayal are a slow poisoning of our vitality, our relationships, and our very sense of reality, leaving us in a state of gilded emptiness. The first and most intimate consequence is a profound and debilitating energy leak. Performing a self that is not your own is exhausting work. It is the constant, low-level cognitive load of monitoring your own behavior, editing your own words, and suppressing your spontaneous impulses. It is the work of a spy in enemy territory, and the enemy territory is your own life. This is why you feel so drained after social gatherings that should, in theory, be energizing. It is why a day of meetings can leave you more depleted than a day of hard physical labor. You are spending the majority of your life force not on living, but on the performance of living. This chronic exhaustion is often misdiagnosed as burnout, stress, or even depression. But in many cases, it is the simple, profound fatigue of a soul that is tired of hiding. It is the exhaustion of a lifetime spent holding up a heavy mask. This energy drain leads to a second, more insidious consequence, a slow, creeping sense of unreality and meaninglessness. When you live your life from behind a mask, nothing that happens to you feels entirely real. The successes feel hollow because you know on some level that they were awarded to the persona, not to you. The praise feels fraudulent. Even the love you receive feels conditional, tainted with the fear that it would vanish if your true self were ever revealed. You become a spectator in your own life, watching a character go through the motions. This is the source of the quiet desperation that hums beneath the surface of so many seemingly successful lives. It is the existential ache of a life that is being observed rather than lived. The great project of building a meaningful life becomes impossible because meaning can only adhere to what is real, and you have sacrificed your reality for the sake of your performance. The third consequence is the inevitable decay of true intimacy. Authentic connection is built on the foundation of mutual vulnerability. It is the experience of being seen in all your messy, imperfect reality and being accepted anyway. But if you are unwilling or unable to show your true self, you make it impossible for anyone to truly connect with you. Your relationships, even the most intimate ones, become a form of theater. They are a dance of two personas, each one carefully managing the other's perceptions. This is why so many people feel profoundly lonely, even within their marriages and families. They're surrounded by people, but they are not truly known.
Furthermore, your own inauthenticity makes it difficult to trust the authenticity of others. Because you are performing, you assume everyone else is too. You become cynical and guarded, forever trying to peer behind their mask, unable to simply rest in a state of open, trusting connection. You have traded the risky, terrifying, and profoundly nourishing possibility of real intimacy for the safe, predictable, and ultimately sterile arrangement of a shared performance. Finally, the ultimate consequence of a life of inauthenticity is the loss of your own inner compass, your authentic self. Your intuition, your gut feelings, your spontaneous desires, your unique moral sensibilities is the only reliable guide you have for navigating the complexities of life. It is your true north. When you consistently ignore this inner voice in favor of the external voice of the herd, it begins to atrophy. You lose the ability to know what you truly want, what you truly believe, what is truly right for you. You start to outsource your decision-making. You look to trends, to experts, to what everyone else is doing to guide your choices, from the career you pursue, to the person you marry, to the values you profess to hold. You become a ship without a rudder, adrift on the shifting currents of social opinion. This is the final stage of self-betrayal. You have performed the role for so long that you have forgotten there was ever an actor underneath. You have listened to the voice of the crowd for so long that you can no longer hear the sound of your own. The unseen consequences have led you to a state of profound alienation from your energy, from your own life, from others, and from your own inner wisdom. You have built a beautiful, socially approved, and structurally sound prison for yourself. You are safe, you are accepted, and you are slowly suffocating. The quiet rebellion is no longer an optional path for the brave. It becomes a desperate, necessary act of escape for anyone who wants to feel alive before they die. The rebellion of being authentic is not a single, dramatic declaration of war. It is a quiet, persistent, and often clumsy guerrilla campaign, fought in the small, daily moments of self-betrayal. It is not about discovering a perfect, hidden, true self and suddenly unleashing it upon the world. It is the much braver, more humble, and more realistic work of becoming more true. It is a process of leaning into your own reality, one courageous choice at a time. The first act of this rebellion is to become a gentle and curious observer of your own inauthenticity. You cannot dismantle a prison you do not know you are in. This requires you to develop a kind of inner witness, a part of your consciousness that can watch your own performance without judgment. Pay attention to that cold, metallic taste of self-betrayal. When do you feel it? Is it with a particular person? In a specific environment, like work or a family gathering? Notice the moments when you swallow your words, when you force a smile, when you offer an opinion that is not your own. The goal here is not to immediately change the behavior. That can be too overwhelming. The goal is simply to notice. You can say to yourself, there it is. The mask just went on. This simple act of mindful awareness is a revolutionary step. It creates a tiny wedge of space between the actor and the role, and in that space, the possibility of a different choice is born. The second act of rebellion is to start with small, survivable experiments in authenticity. You have a lifetime of training in self-suppression. You cannot undo it overnight. To try and be 100% authentic in your most high-stakes environment tomorrow is a recipe for disaster. Instead, you must start on the low-stakes training ground. Identify an area of your life where the perceived cost of rejection is low. It might be with a barista at a coffee shop, a stranger on a bus, or a single, trusted friend. In that safe context, practice a small act of truth. It could be as simple as stating a real, uncool preference. Actually, I don't really like that popular TV show. It could be sharing a small, vulnerable feeling. I'm feeling a little anxious today. It could be setting a tiny boundary. I'm sorry, I don't have the energy to talk on the phone tonight. These are not earth-shattering confessions. They are small reps in the gym of authenticity. Each time you take one of these small risks and discover that you survive, that the world doesn't end, that the other person doesn't abandon you, you are rewiring your nervous system. You are teaching that frightened childhood part of you a new lesson. It is safe to be real. The third and most crucial act of rebellion is to redefine your relationship with rejection. The fear of rejection is the jailer. As long as you believe that social approval is the ultimate prize and social disapproval is the ultimate catastrophe, you will never be free. The rebellion requires you to consciously and deliberately reframe rejection not as a verdict on your worth, but as a necessary and even helpful piece of data. When you express an authentic part of yourself and someone rejects it, they are not rejecting you. They are rejecting a specific aspect of you that is incompatible with them. This is not a tragedy. It is a gift. It is the gift of clarity. It helps you to sort the people who are your people from the people who are not your people. An authentic life is not a life where everyone likes you. It is a life where the right people like you for the right reasons. You must learn to find a strange, quiet pride in the rejections that come from your authenticity. It is a sign that your inner compass is finally working, that you are no longer a chameleon, but a creature with its own true colors. This rebellion is a process of subtraction, not addition. It is less about finding your authentic self and more about unlearning all the inauthentic behaviors that are currently obscuring it. It is about removing the layers of shoulds and supposed tos that you have internalized from your family, your culture, and your own fears. With each layer you peel back, you are not discovering a perfect enlightened being. You are discovering something much more real, a complex, messy, and unique human. You are discovering the person who was there before you learned who you were supposed to be. This is not a path to a life free from fear or pain. It is a path to a life that is, finally, your own. And this quiet, persistent, and deeply personal rebellion is what allows you to arrive at the final, unshakable truth of what it means to be alive.
You have begun the quiet rebellion. You have started to watch your own performance with compassionate awareness. You have practiced small, survivable acts of truth, and you have begun to reframe rejection, not as a threat, but as a necessary filter. The mask has started to loosen. In fleeting, beautiful moments, you have felt the profound relief of simply being real, of letting your inside match your outside. You are discovering that the catastrophic consequences you always feared are mostly illusions. The world doesn't end. The right people stay. The exhaustion begins to recede, replaced by a tentative, grounded vitality. But this journey into authenticity is not just a strategy for a better life. It is a pilgrimage that leads to a final, liberating, and deeply paradoxical truth. The ultimate truth is not that you must find and then be true to a fixed, static, authentic self. The ultimate truth is that authenticity is not a state you achieve, but a process you inhabit. It is not a noun, it is a verb. The great hidden trap of the "be yourself" mantra is that it sends us on a frantic internal treasure hunt for a hidden, perfect, and unchanging core of selfhood. We imagine our true self is like a flawless diamond buried beneath layers of societal conditioning, and that if we can just dig away all the dirt, we will find it, polish it, and present it to the world. But this is a myth. You will never find a finished product. What you find underneath all the layers of performance is not a perfect diamond, but a dynamic, living, and constantly evolving process. You find a bundle of potentials, a set of core values, a unique history, and a capacity for awareness. Authenticity is the act of consciously and courageously engaging with that process, moment by moment. It is the verb of authoring your life, not the noun of a pre-written identity. This realization is the final freedom. It frees you from the paralyzing pressure of having to be perfectly authentic. If authenticity is a process, then there is no such thing as a final arrival. There are only more or less authentic moments. There are moments when you are aligned with your values, and moments when fear or old conditioning pulls you off course. The goal is not to never be inauthentic again. The goal is to notice when you have strayed and to gently, compassionately, and without judgment guide yourself back to your own center. It is a dance, not a destination. This reframes your entire understanding of who you are. Your authentic self is not the person you were in the past. Your authentic self is not even the person you are today. Your truest, most authentic self is the one you are in the process of becoming. It is the courageous chooser, the conscious author, the one who is, in this very moment, deciding which potential to bring into being. This is the heart of the existentialist vision. You are not a fixed essence to be discovered. You are an existence that is constantly creating its own essence with every choice. To be authentic, then, is not to be consistent with a past version of yourself. It is to be true to the emergent wisdom of your present moment awareness. It is having the courage to grow, to change your mind, to shed old skins, to admit you're wrong.
It is to be loyal not to a fixed identity, but to the process of your own evolution. Look back at the person in the meeting, swallowing their words. Look at the person at the dinner table, performing their role. Their tragedy was not just that they were being inauthentic, but that they were freezing themselves in time. They were choosing the safety of a static, known performance over the terrifying, alive, and unpredictable process of becoming. The ultimate truth is that you are not a thing to be found, but a life to be lived. The rebellion of being authentic is the lifelong commitment to that living. It is the choice to be a verb, not a noun. It is to find your identity not in a label, but in the continuous, courageous act of showing up to your own life in all its messy, unfinished, and beautiful reality. The final piece comes from letting go of the need for a final definition. You are not a masterpiece to be hung on a wall. You are the artist, the messy studio, and the ever-evolving canvas all at once. And the point is not to finish the painting. The point is to fall in love with the brave, unpredictable, and infinitely creative process of painting itself. This is not just how you become authentic. This is how you become free.